one by one, they're turning out the lights. I've been seeing that old jukebox just to hold me tight. I guess it's for the best. I'll just put in my last dime. Heard you whisper we'll meet again. Another place, another time.
Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of May 25th. I'm Ryan Miller, and he's the best in this show, Matt Amber.
Hey, I'm a fast dog.
Thanks. Love it when you provide your own intro quotes. On Book Club for Movies, where we pick a movie, we watch it, we invite you to do the same, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and Book Club for Movies at podcast. Did I know it backwards?
It's fine. You'll figure it out.
Podcast at, but maybe I just do the whole thing. It's a round.
Yeah.
Book Club for Movies at podcast at bookclubformovies.com. That podcast is that. I couldn't keep it out. It's so hard. Man, how do people do it? This week, we're not going to completely eschew tradition like we do with the TVs and the whatnots, but we're going to focus a little bit on the late, great Fred Willard.
Frederick Willard.
Frederick. I didn't look up if that was his full name.
I don't know.
Apologies to the family.
It could be. It's probably Fredward.
His spouse was Mary Willard, married 1968. Oh, no, wait. She's dead also.
In 1968?
No. Although his dad did die when he was 12 years old.
Me and Fred Willard are like the same person.
Were you 12?
I was like 14, I think. So basically,
okay. See,
the
I
same
knew.
person.
Why do I even? So, we did pick a movie, though. We are going to talk probably more about Best in Show than anything else, but I want to save maybe that synopsis if you keep it in your hat pocket.
Sure.
And just start out a little bit about Fred Willard. What do you know about Fred Willard?
I honestly, outside of just the movies and TV and stuff, I don't really know much. I don't know about the guy.
This could have backfired quite a bit, right?
I was hoping it would on you, actually. My goal here is to go, well, I don't know, but I bet you did some looking up of things.
I did. But this could have just as easily been, oh, hey, we really like Fred Willard. Let's do a show on him. And he's that right wing. Is he? Oh, okay. He did what with women?
That would have been the saddest thing to find out. The guy's like he was 200 years old.
But that didn't happen. Yes, no, we're okay. Fred Willard's a perfectly fine individual, it turns out, and we're going to do an episode on him, and I did do some reading, so allow me.
Oh, okay.
Dude came up in the 50s was when it says his stage career began, when he moved to New York, as many stage careers do, I would imagine. And it didn't take long in that it might have taken 10 years or so. I don't know, but it didn't take long, I'm sure in the grand scheme, that he was invited on Dean Martin, Smothers Brothers, Tonight Show. So he had a sketch type thing he would do with, he didn't quite call it stand-up, but he said that it was something that him and Vic Greco would put together.
The Grec!
Pantomime bits. Do you know him? I didn't know him at all.
Vic the Greco! Hey!
Is he a wrestler?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He's got a great name.
He is Italian. I guess
Vic Greco is like a villain's name, though.
Yeah, I didn't look up if that was a character name or not. Yeah,
Vic
or a stage
Greco.
name, I guess I should say, or not. Very nice name.
He was a favorite of Steve Allen and Merv Griffin.
That is true. Now you got the Wikipedia going, don't you?
Yeah, he only did one. He was only an actor in one thing as an actor, quote unquote, and it was an episode of Get Smart.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, so that was him. So, yes. Also, not too long, meaning probably 20 years. We're getting here in the 60s?
Late 68.
1968. Yeah. He appeared in an episode of Get Smart. And we mentioned picking up a couple other things of Fred Willard's as we did the show. We didn't know if we were going to do movies. We didn't have the time to get together and talk about doing a second or third together. So you can imagine that the stuff we chose kind of came by the way. And I've been watching a lot of videos, so stuff popped up here and there. But one of the things I have is Get Smart. I have the series. So when I heard that he appeared on that thing, that was actually the first thing I watched. And I like that show. That's why I have it. It's one of my dad's favorites, actually. I inherited it in some respect.
Sure.
And in this episode, Max and 99 are about a week away from getting married. So it's season 4. And 99's got some errands to run. But one of the things I have is Get Smart. I have the series. So when I heard that he appeared on that thing, that was actually the first thing I watched. And I like that show. That's why I have it. It's one of my dad's favorites, actually. I inherited it in some respect. Sure. And in this episode, Max and 99 are about a week away from getting married. So it's season 4. But her boss at Control, I can't remember. You recognize the guy in a second, but I can't remember. It might just be Chief. Actually, I think his name is Chief in the show. Asks her to do some work, and she's like, oh, but I got errands to run. I'm getting married. And he's like, it's no problem. I've included the work you have to do, which is 3 broken up pieces of a very important formula. And he's hidden them in the different places she's running her errands. So like at the cake shop, at the dry cleaners. So she just needs to pick them up while on the way. Meanwhile, Max has been tasked with schooling the 2 kind of dropouts. There's a graduating class of Control. This is the name of the good guy squad there.
Yeah.
Right? And 2 of those, the only 2 are apparently Vic Greco. I didn't know if they got him or not, but it's Fred Willard. So somebody at some point had seen their act. They do a little pantomime bit where they drop a gun. There's a safe cracker, and it's all pantomime. Like they have a gun, and they keep dropping the gun back and forth. So if somebody saw that and put them in this show, so they don't figure into it hugely, as you can imagine.
Sure.
It's still Max and 99, or Don Adams and oh boy, forget the woman's name. You piece of garbage. You can't even do this.
Barbara
Stupid.
Feldon.
Barbara Feldon. The episode mostly focuses on them, but Fred Willard's in there, very young Fred Willard, and it's fun. It's a good start. It's something before, because Fred Willard, I feel like, especially as character actors go, is one of those actors whose career was kind of made in the process. It's kind of a stupid thing to say. I bet that happens too. What actor sets out and is like, I'm going to be this type of actor, and only takes those jobs and succeeds. And is,
I think there are definitely actors that do that. I don't know that they're
okay.
They're 100% successful at it. I'm going to be a lead actor. Steve Buscemi, you are not. We love you, but
Right.
those
We've got other things. But Fred Willard, at least it seems his path. I don't know. There are actors out there that are so good at the things they do and carve out a niche either before or, I don't know, almost maybe unwillingly. And Fred Willard just seems like one of those people that nailed something so early on and so well for the rest of his career, character actor or not. You don't necessarily see that in the Get Smart episode. Going down his IMDb, though, I kept wondering, okay, when did he kind of hit, right? Like, did he have that point where he was going for leading man, and when did he find out that wasn't going to happen type thing and embraced the character actor type thing? So I went through 1976. He's in a movie called Chesty Anderson, U.S. Navy. So I don't even think it's the first one of that franchise.
I would hope not.
And I don't think he appears on the marquee still until we get to 81. There's a movie called Perfect Woman. It's a TV movie, but he's actually on that poster, or wherever that poster actually appeared. But even then, it's still after Wikipedia considers him hitting in 77 and 78 with shows I've never heard of. Martin Mull's sidekick and announcer Jerry Hubbard on Mary Hartman spinoffs, Fernwood Tonight, and Forever Fernwood, and America Tonight. Did you ever see that stuff?
I've never seen it, but I have heard of Mary Hartwood. That's familiar. But yeah, I never saw any of that.
You can find enough clips of Fernwood Tonight and its related things, and it is pretty good. Fred does a pretty great job on there.
Oh, sure.
1984 is kind of the beginning of what we'll probably get into a lot today, and that's when This Is Spinal Tap came out, and he was in the first one of those. So were there many mockumentary things before This Is Spinal Tap? I always look at that as...
Not so much. I kind of think it really was kind of the first of its time. I don't remember...
Written by Chris Guest, not directed. Rob Reiner still directed that one, but Fred Willard was there kind of from the beginning is what I'm saying, because honestly, a lot of his career is defined by these movies from here on out. That's the one.
When did Spinal Tap come out?
1984.
Okay, so the first one that I actually know of, and I didn't realize this came out so far ahead of time. There was an Eric Idle thing that he did 100 years ago, and it looks like it's 1978, called The Ruddles. And it was him making fun of the Beatles, and there was a telemovie, and he did an actual record with it and everything that came along.
It does sound familiar.
It's pretty funny. Like, I remembered it as a kid thinking it was like, I didn't understand like, what was going on. Like, is this real? Because there's a real thing. And then I saw Spinal Tap and I was like, wait, they're real? And then after I saw Spinal Tap a few years later, I thought I knew that they were a joke. But then they had a video on MTV because they released a new album.
they carried that joke so far.
And I love that the song, or maybe the record, was called Break Like the Wind or Break with the Wind.
Sure.
Jeez.
They have a song Short and Sweet that's, 7 to 10 minutes long. I can't remember, something like that. No, it's fantastic. We could do a show on This Is Spinal Tap, I'm sure.
But yes, the Ruddles looks like came before Spinal Tap.
Okay, well,
so
This Is Spinal Tap.
Great,
if not,
cancel the show now. We've screwed it all up. All the information is null and
only.
void.
This Is Spinal Tap is definitely an early example, if not, if this thing was created in the overseas, this is the Americanized hit.
Sure.
Roxanne might have been the biggest hit I saw on that list. Same year, Harry and the Hendersons, which I also had queued up, was going to be another one I watch.
That movie is so terrible.
What? You don't like Harry and the Hendersons?
I like it just fine. It's a bad movie.
I haven't seen it in so long. I don't know. Am I going to discover this when I watch it?
No,
again?
you're going to love it. It's watching Lithgow in a childhood movie is the most bizarre thing. After now, at this point, like, I've grown up so much where, like, I don't remember him he was in Harry and the Hendersons, he was in Third Rock from the Sun, and then everything else is like some horrific horror movie thriller where
really?
He's a murderer. Yeah, and the thing I remember him most from at this point is Dexter, where he was like the most terrifying serial killer of all time.
Oh man, I've missed out.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Well, when he dies, we can do a Lithgow show.
Jeez, man, Johnny L. Although he is really funny in Orange County.
I like him. I don't. Really
I will
have any problem
eat
with it.
your face. He says it so weird. No, I love Lithgow. Yeah.
But okay, this is the thing about Fred Willard. It keeps going. National Lampoon, Mama's Family, SCTV, Love Boat, Fast Times, Fame, Murder, She Wrote, Golden Girls, Married with Children, Ben Stiller Show, Murphy Brown, Friends, Family Matters, Sister.
There it was. Thank you. Okay, good.
Saved by the Bell.
The New Class.
Come on, don't. I wasn't even gonna.
Don't.
Lois and Clark, Roseanne, Diagnosis Murder.
Hey. Everybody who was anybody was on Diagnosis Murder. That was
Step by Step.
LA Law before LA
Two
Law.
girls, two guys and a girls, two girl guys in a pizza place.
Whoa.
Simpsons, who wasn't. Just Shoot Me, which, funny story, I never got because it's a magazine where they take pictures. That's where they all work. Just shoot me like the camera. I never got it. I just thought it was a David Spade thing, like just shoot me.
I also never got that until you just said it right now.
All right, good.
Wow.
Revelations. Mad About You. Everybody Loves Raymond later on. Fred Willard, man, everybody knew him. Everybody wanted him. I can't think of many other actors that I can share a list like that. That's nuts.
No, it's crazy. And I mean, and the funny thing is, like, the guy, since coming onto the scene, since making his debut in film and TV, the guy has worked all the time. He is
all the time.
He has never ever, like, I don't see a year here where he's not doing something.
Nope. I stopped kind of at where Best in Show came out in 2000, but and then I've left things off the list, and the list just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't ever want to forget Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, we could keep going. We could do Fred Willard shows for the rest of this show.
I hope we do.
The whatever 2-3 more weeks that it goes,
Buck Laughlin, Best in Show. What a great name.
So speaking of Best in Show, then I guess we're there. Is Best in Show the one that you think of when you think of Fred Willard? Is that why we're doing this?
Honestly, yeah, kind of. It is the one that I think of for whatever reason. I don't know, and it has nothing to do with his IMDb. It's just like when people mention Fred Willard, the first two things that pop into my head are truly this and Anchorman.
That's right. Yeah. What is?
And it's legitimately that there's a line in Anchorman that it's him. It's his trying to explain, and I can't remember the line off the top of my head, but when he says, "What? But I told you, anything you put on the teleprompter, he says."
Oh, that's right.
He's the station manager. He runs the station in the first Anchorman.
I haven't seen that in a while.
He
either.
sits in the office with them, like when they're all yelling about everything. He's the boss. It's him.
I mean,
and,
it makes perfect sense.
him and Chris Parnell. Chris Parnell's his his assistant.
Forgot Chris Parnell was in there too. Okay, well, yeah, Best in Show is probably the one I go to as well, even though I think I've only seen this once. My wife showed it to me shortly after we got married because I had no idea it existed and couldn't have told you a line from it. So this was fun either way for me. But do we synopsize this? Do you have that? Do you want to?
Oh, I sure do.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course I
Feel
do.
free.
Yeah, Best in Show. It's going to come out in an hour and 30 minutes. Written by Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy. And technically, it's really the screenplay. It wasn't so much written because it's mostly improv. Directed by Christopher Guest. Starring Christopher Guest, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Michael McKean, John Michael Higgins, Jane Lynch, Jennifer Coolidge, and the titular Best of Show, Fred Willard. Here's your synopsis for Best in Show. An in-depth look at the competitors of the most prestigious national dog show in the world, the Mayflower Dog Show. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that really is it. And it truly is an in-depth look at the competitors. We find out all about their favorite nuts. You'll find out which nuts drove people's moms crazy.
Catherine O'Hara is my favorite nut.
What was that?
Actually, she's maybe the least nutty one of the group.
The least nutty one of the group, I think, is Eugene Levy. I mean,
okay,
I think
I don't know.
He's the most milquetoast, boring. Nothing has ever happened to him. He's trying so hard to be everything, and I love. By the way, I've seen this movie. I can't countless times, and I still heard and found new things in this watch. And one of them happened to be. I do not know how I never caught this, but there's a running gag. And by the way, this isn't really so much a movie that you spoil. Like we will, but it's not really this is not a movie you watch for the spoiler aspect.
I mean, maybe it's good because you can get into who's going to win the show a little bit.
Sure.
But no, I mean...
That is like the last part of the movie for me is like even thinking about who's going to win. And it's completely about all of these people. Just like the concept that these people are competing in this is just absolutely terrific.
It's like spoiling what a person is. Like you just can't do it.
You can't.
Like it's not like you're gonna meet somebody and I'm like, oh hey, this person likes beef.
What?
Spoiler alert. I don't know. I can't see. It's impossible. You can't do it.
The movie has a definitive ending, but it doesn't matter. It's because this movie is completely about the journey. And although
there you go.
I will tell you that while most movies are generally about the journey, this one in particular, definitely is. I also I mentioned this to Beth last night, because again I've seen the movie so many times. So here we go. I'm just gonna spoil the movie. The Norwich Terrier wins. It is the funniest thing in the world to me because I just can't stand those dogs. I love all
I have
dogs.
no experience with them.
They're fine dogs. It's a totally fine dog. But in terms of like any dog winning Best in Show, it's the funniest thing. And obviously that's part of it. But
wait, is that the joke?
It is just one of those things where you're like, there is just even in this world, how? Out of all of those
is that
dogs.
a thing? Like, okay, you do know dogs and animals, period, better than I do. Is that like an actual thing? Like these dogs just don't win things like this? Like, is that a joke?
Well, in this case, like for what they're going for and the prestigiousness of this thing, no, that dog is not going to win that at all.
So it's a real rags to riches then. This thing.
And that's the whole. I mean, again, and it's not that they haven't been. They certainly win national dog shows. They're perfectly fine dogs, but they're just when you think of those big dog shows, a Norwich Terrier is not what you think of. Like you just don't.
That you're absolutely right. Also, I don't know any of the other. Oh, that's not true. I've heard of a Shih Tzu before because Dumb and Dumber. So
you've never heard of a poodle?
Oh, that's right. The
Rhapsody in White,
but it's
Butch.
not the small.
No,
It's a
but
big-
the standard poodle is actually a standard like those.
standard poodle. Yeah, that's what they're called, right? You call them standard poodles
You do.
because of the
Yeah, because they're the
I don't
regular
know.
size.
Do I do okay? damn it.
No, and they treat number one, yes, because it is the standard size of them, and number two, they truly do win those things. They're
Okay, so
they're fancy schmancy. You know, the other thing that is funny though is that so all of those dogs do actually compete, like not those ones, but those breeds
you're telling
definitely
me
compete. They definitely have had success, and my favorite being out of all of that grouping, I love when the bloodhounds are successful. They big
Christopher Guest's dog in this one.
He's a big
true, I guess I know bloodhounds, too.
slobberpuss. He's a big slobberpuss.
Heck, man, Christopher Guest. I know we're talking about Fred Willard. He's so good in this thing.
All of
like,
them are great. Like that's the thing is like
That's-
this whole
okay, also
movie.
true.
This whole movie is so Beth's favorite Christopher Guest movie, but far and away, and it's the one that should be for all intents and purposes is Waiting for Guffman. Like, and it is.
very good.
It is hilarious, but for whatever reason, to me, this movie is every moment on screen, every character, everything, just all cylinders. Always funny. Every moment I'm smiling. You know, I just can't. This movie is
So
too
this
funny
is
to me.
your best Christopher Guest.
For sure.
If the show contained only Christopher Guest movies,
Yeah,
Best in Show would be your best in
it
show.
would be my best in show.
You know, I'd probably agree with that, actually.
I can tell you that for your consideration is probably on the bottom of my list.
It's been a very long time since I've seen that. I have not seen Mascots yet, although is that...
I don't know. Let me say I never saw that one. I put that. Anyways,
I don't know. Like,
Fred Willard.
Fred Willard. Do you have much more about Best in Show up until Fred Willard appears on the screen? Because he does not show up literally. This is about an hour and a half long. I can't remember which the minute thing was. But he shows up at about 45 minutes. Exactly.
I just think everybody is so funny in this movie. I do think that Parker Posey is one of the standouts. That whole situation with her and her husband and their Weimaraner is just
It's fantastic. No, absolutely.
it's so funny, and the braces that she's wearing, the fact that the movie opens with them having a discussion about how their sex life is really struggling because their dog is uncomfortable with it apparently, and the dog is just sitting, and they're talking to a therapist, and the dog is laying on the couch, and she won't even look at me. Just yeah,
No, she's great. In fact, Parker Posey, I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything I haven't liked her in. Really,
I love her. Yeah, I always like her. And I do want to point out and say that the Christopher Guest's entire character and the entire bit in the car where he's singing his song and making that weird noise where he's going, I don't even know what the word, but he's going, and then he starts talking about how he drive his mother nuts by just talking about, because he's from Pine Nut. And then I would just sit there and I would repeat. I could name every
Types of
nut.
nuts. Yeah, no.
But Fred Willard, the moment he pops up on screen, there is like every time he's there, he steals every moment that he can. Every line out of his mouth is just, and you can tell
It's his movie after that, honestly.
the guy that's his co-host of the dog show, and I don't remember his name.
Me neither.
You could just see how many times they were like he
looked like he was on the verge of losing it so many times.
Times.
How many outtakes do we have with that guy, like where he just can't keep it together?
I am so curious what the cutting room floor of that movie looks like.
Seriously.
I would love this is one of those moments where I just hope that for whatever reason Christopher Guest is sitting at home with Jamie Lee Curtis and they're like, you know what we should do is go find all the cutting room floor stuff of Fred Willard and put together a supercut.
A lot of cool stuff happening because he passed away. Like a lot of cool tributes. And I did watch this as well, and we'll get to it after we talk about Best in Show. But SNL aired his episode from
1976,
76, something
like that, where he comes out and he's in the Elvis outfit.
Yep.
Jeez.
But we'll get there. Best in Show, it is really his movie after he comes on, and it's because he establishes that character, and I don't know if it's because, again, he's carved out this niche, but he comes on screen and in about 20 seconds, you know exactly who his character is. He's a B-list, maybe has-been celebrity of sorts. He's not from the dog world, which his other host is. So yes, he's got the personality where he's a bit cluelessly, and that is largely Fred Willard's bit. There's a cluelessness to it where he's, making inappropriate comments, but also asking weird questions about the dogs.
How much do you think I could bench press?
Just out of nowhere. But it's fantastic because it's such a whole character, such a complete character in like 0 seconds that you get and understand, and you're just able to laugh from the very get-go because of that.
And one of the things that I love as a sports fan is that it is also a perfect send-up of your kind of standard color commentary guys, where you always have the one serious guy that is going to tell you that he's got the numbers and he's going to tell you the play by, and he's going to give you all the stuff. And then you've got the other guy, the color commentary, who brings something to the table. He's got the information, but it always goes back to my favorite example. And this is like a real thing. You can this happened, he is one step away from John Madden. And there was a point where John,
the Frank Caliendo character,
totally. But there was a point where the true, where that character comes from, the true John Madden, where
right.
He was on commentary with Chris Collinsworth, and Collinsworth being the consummate professional. Lots of people don't like him, but he's a consummate professional. The guy does his job, and you would hear him, Collinsworth and what's the other guy? Al Michaels.
Poker.
Michaels is the other guy. Michaels is the professional.
My next guess.
Al Michaels. And Al Michaels was totally that guy that would give the straight face to Madden, because he would say something like, "Well, let me tell you, Al, to win the game, you got to score more points than the other team." and it was like, and it's one of those things where for whatever reason, the IQ of those guys so high when it comes to the actual sport, but man, you put a mic on them and they become like 4-year-olds that don't know. I gotta score a goal to win a point. And Willard pulls that off so well by immediately coming out of the gate and being the in for the audience to a bunch of characters that we're learning are obnoxious and idiotic in their own right, but they clearly understand the dog show world. All of them get it. That's the one thing that you can answer about all of them, with the exception kind of being Jennifer Coolidge, who's a little dingy and a little out of it because Jane Lynch is the one that's in charge of the dog. But all of them get the dog show aspect. So we're privy to them being kind of idiotic, but we may not know the dog show stuff. So you get Fred Willard to come in to be that part of our audience, like that, in to where he doesn't know anything about it. And then the highlight of it being about almost towards the end of the movie, him mentioning something, and then his co-host saying, "Yeah, you said that. You said that last year too." So Fred Willard has been doing this for how long and still doesn't know anything about what's going on.
That's true.
It's outrageously great.
I have down that he's, again, the host that you have that knows more about hosting. Like, he's good on camera type thing.
Right,
like,
he's entertainment.
Like, he would bring in the viewers. Like, it's funny because it's a mockumentary. Like he is bringing in the viewers. That's why we're here. But also in that world, he would bring in the viewers, because what's he going to say? I mean, other characters in the movie, if they were watching him host, I feel like it would go over their head.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, but
no, not at all. Yeah. I would totally agree. I think all of them would look at him as like he's the idiot. That he's the dumbest person out of all of them. Which, by the way, speaking of dumb parts in this movie that I absolutely love, and I just fall over every time I think about it. It's only brought up one time. You see it very, very briefly, but it's pointed, and it just fits the Eugene Levy character so much, is when they get to the hotel. And this has nothing to do with Fred Willard. This is just funny in the movie.
I'm trying to think about what you're going to...
They get to the hotel, and they're not able to rent the room because even though you're supposed to... 2 notices, and then the credit card gets shut off. I love that Ed Begley Jr. is like, you know what? I don't want to throw you out in the cold like any other establishment would. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put you in the utility closet that we just finished seeing
It's set
Ed
up,
Begley
yeah.
Jr. explain all of the chemicals that are in there.
That was actually the one. Also,
I
it's
love
funny that we thought
that.
about this, but I love it. But it's also like, wait, so they don't have money. So wait, did you take, because they had some cash, did they pay for the utility
Right,
closet? It just makes no sense. Like,
all of it, like how, okay, number one, how did you pay for this with the $30 you had? Is that
and he
it?
says it's because they're full up. I'm like, well, they had a reservation. Like, you're not actually full, but like,
And then all they eat for the rest of the movie is you see them only eat that once the party. You want some Gouda?
I didn't catch that either. And I've got to watch this again. Fred Willard, though.
I don't know. It's just not breathing, but I like the Merlot. There's just going to be a lot of khaki down there. Everything. And again, like, I can't. This whole movie is just the whole bit with Michael McKean and John Michael Higgins trying to pack. Well, we're going for 48 hours. Don't you think you're overpacked? You're right. I should get 8 kimonos.
Yeah, I forgot John Michael Higgins was in the thing.
God, I love that character. Those two together, again, just...
Coupled with Michael McKean, yeah. And honestly, I don't know if I have much more on the movie. I'm sure I would. I did kind of focus on Fred Willard, and he really makes the movie, and it is his movie after he appears.
Yeah.
I could watch another, like, you could do so many more things just from him, like put him on the field. What the heck is that?
Sure.
The floor is probably more accurate. Interviewing give him an interaction with each one of the couples. You've got another hour and a half there probably.
That would have just been the best.
So he's good. He's great. The movie's great. Honestly, if you have anything else, go right ahead.
No, I mean that really this was I think I admit this was less of a we're going to talk about this show and more of a reason to watch it because
fair.
Fred Willard.
We do that. We can do that.
We can. It's our show.
Have and we will continue to do it. And if you want more on Fred Willard, obviously we listed some of the stuff he's done. He's done a million more things.
Waiting for Guffman is I'd call out Waiting for Guffman. I think Anchorman. I think he's great in Anchorman. But
A Mighty Wind isn't even my favorite Christopher Guest
Wind
movie by a mile, but he's got his catchphrase in there. He's great in it, honestly, anywhere. And I watched the first half of that SNL appearance of his. It's fun. It's totally fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot also came from, he has a series of videos he did in conjunction with the Archive of American Television, I guess is the name of an organization somewhere.
Sure.
And they're pretty great. Like I feel like they just sat him down and asked him a bunch of questions and had him go on, and he talks about just everything. He talks about Get Smart. He talks about his SNL appearance, which I guess came about because he just ran into Jim Belushi at one point, or John Belushi. Sorry.
Yeah.
They made friends, and then he thinks it was like Muhammad Ali or somebody dropped out, so they called him at the last minute. Or like, hey, host this thing, and he nails it. Like, it's super fun. So plenty of Fred Willard stuff out there. We didn't even scratch the surface, and those videos. In fact, this is the last thing I'll mention about him. I love late era Fred Willard. Even Wall-E, he shows up.
Sure.
The two things I grab from that are, number one, they decided to not even animate him. They're like, no, if we're getting Fred Willard, he's
just let him be Fred Willard.
We're just putting him on screen. And two, he's a president. Like, late era Fred Willard gets tapped to play the president of the United States so often that it kind of makes you wonder what happened to the country around that point where they're like, oh, nah, yeah, Fred Willard can now be president. This works. This tracks. I think it's great. I think Fred Willard's great.
Yeah, no, Fred Willard's great. I will tell you that the only other Fred Willard I watched 3 episodes of Modern Family where he popped up as
I saw he had a stint on that too.
Yeah. Oh no, he was always. I loved it we were watching the show on a regular basis when he first popped up as the father, and he's great, man. Like, he is so funny as Frank, and he fits Ty Burrell's character's dad. Like, it just, everything about it made so much sense when he showed up, and you're like, oh,
that totally works. Like, I don't know Modern Family that well but I know Ty Burrell.
The show I can tell you that the last I haven't seen the last 3 seasons or so because
is it over?
It did. Yeah, it did finally
okay.
end. It actually ended just this year, I think. But they actually killed his father off in one of the episodes. Like he dies, and it was, jeez, it was sad. Like it was sad because it was like, oh no, no more Fred Willard. Now there's no more Fred Willard.
Right. Yeah. It's just every show now. Like I see here. In fact, this is funny. Apparently, at some point, he piloted a show called Space Force that didn't get picked up, and but now I see that he is in several episodes, 10 episodes of which has got to be probably the entire series.
I think it's the whole show
of Space Force, the new Netflix one that is coming.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think that's out yet.
No,
right?
I think it comes
Yeah,
out
so-
towards the. I think it comes out this week, actually.
We've got more Fred Willard to come, and if anybody has seen all of Fred Willard, you're doing it right, I guess. But I feel like that's an impossibility. So we've got plenty of Fred Willard to go, no matter what. Lois and Clark, did I mention that?
The 29th, Space Force comes out.
Austin Powers.
Which, by the way, I
Mad About You, did I say?
finally watched the trailer for that, and I am happy to find out that show has next to nothing to do with them. It looks like nothing to do with them being in space proper. It has to do with the fact that they're all idiots trying to get to space.
Yeah.
Way funnier concept to me than them being.
Oh yeah,
in space.
yeah.
Like
no,
I
this
thought it was
like
going to be one of those like they go to space and this is going to be a kind of a like almost the Orville type thing.
Yes, exactly what I was thinking. There's been like 2 or 3 shows of those. Like Hugh Laurie's doing one too now, and it's funny.
Avenue 5.
Anytime, yeah, okay. Anytime I see, I'm just like, I don't know, man. But no, yeah, this is like
this.
I'm sure a take on the real life, naming of the Space Force.
Well, that was one of those like there's some pretty interesting stories out there about how that came up, where it was basically I think somebody came to Steve Carell with the title, "Hey, you want to make a show called Space Force?" They had nothing else. They had no details, and he just thought it was really funny, and he took it to Greg Daniels, and they were like, "Yeah, all right, let's do this."
So who's going to call Fred Willard was the next.
Yeah, exactly. We're making a comedy show.
Did. We already did.
Yeah, we already got Fred on. Fred's contracted.
Actually, contractually, he was supposed to be like, we have to make it with him. No, just
that's right.
Ally McBeal, The Fighting Fitzgeralds, Undeclared, Dexter's Laboratory,
Good old Dexty,
Family Guy, That 70s Show,
Harold and Kumar,
Fred Willard, R.I.P. Fred Willard,
R.I.P.
Paul Walker. Yep.
It's all about family.
But Fred Willard also.
Yeah, but it's about family.
It's about family. Fred Willard was part of your family, everybody's family.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this. Best in show, 100 stars, live at 100 stars.
Thank you.
I'm rating it for you. You don't even get a chance to
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't deserve it.
So
I'm broken up.
We're depressed. What are we doing next week? We talked about this. I know I've got.
Why was that the lead in?
What are we? That's why. Are we going to do Heather's? It's fun. It's not depressing.
Oh yeah, we got the two ideas. We got 2 ideas.
Yeah,
we had 3. We just did 1. Now we have 2.
So what's the
left?
What was the other one? I can't remember. I know we have
the
one.
movie Olympics starting point.
Oh, that's
Candy,
right.
My wife gave us.
Let's do Heather's first.
Okay.
I want to knock Heather's out because I love that movie
right.
and I want to watch it again. Even though I just watched it, literally.
I was going to say, I bet you've watched it already, actually.
Yeah, it was on Joe Bob like 2 weeks ago, so I love it.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that.
Yeah. Heather's!
We're going to do next week.
Yeah, podcast.
I've never seen it before.
Book club.
I've not seen it plenty of times.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good... This is going to be a great discussion. This movie has lots of movies took inspiration from this one. So lots of hooks in from
cool.
Stuff.
It'll be one of those ones that I watch and go, oh.
You might.
And I understand like 40 other movies.
You very well might. Yeah, you'll see a number of tropes and other things that kind of really were... I would say when it comes to the high school movies in particular, really, really took from Heather's.
Frasier, Drew Carey Show.
Podcast at bookclubformovies.com. Hit us up there. Let us know what you're thinking, what you want us to watch.
Monster House.
What you're doing there. We are on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us in those places. Look up Book Club for Movies. Hey, with all that being said, let's go ahead and just do the rest of the show. Do you got anything for the rest of the show?
I thought we were ending the show right now. I don't. No, I would just. Well, I do actually, but I've got a documentary block. I'll tease it for next time. That I'll.
Oh, is it the comic book block?
It started out as the comic book block, and
Oh.
made its way into other avenues.
Ship some over to me. Let me know what you're watching. I might dig into. I could use some new docs if I
Did you
haven't
say
seen them.
nude docs?
Sure, those two.
Okay.
So I
I'll ship them right over.
I totally have something I want to talk about because it's
Do,
this
please.
is
I'm sorry.
insane. This is lunacy.
We've got the time,
We've
honestly.
we've got it. I can't believe it. Okay. This is going to blow people's minds and maybe upset some folk. So, in all of this destruction in world that we're having here,
Okay.
I get weird things where I want to watch superhero movies. I watch them a lot, but not the Marvel.
Is that where this is
But not
going?
but not the Marvel superhero movies. So
okay.
I had decided because the Zack Snyder news came out that he officially announced that yes, he's going to get to redo his cut of Justice League. They're giving him millions of dollars to finish up to at least 30 some to finish effects. Apparently some people have been called and have already are coming back for extra reshoots. I'm genuinely looking forward to this, not because I think it's going to be a better movie. I don't have a problem with Justice League. We've had this
We
conversation.
don't have a problem with Justice League.
I like that movie just fine, but I'm very
Just fine.
excited to see what he did because the actors, all of them were so behind it. And when he left for the reasons that he left, which was, tragic, his daughter suicide, the actors definitely were not as in love with the Joss Whedon stuff. They just weren't. None of them were. And it was really evident after that movie came out that the excitement wasn't there. So I'm really looking forward to it because all of them, including Affleck, has been like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm so excited. That being said, Beth and I have been talking and I was like, yeah, and now I got to watch Batman versus Superman. I haven't seen it in a while. And I,
not Justice League. This led to Batman versus Superman.
yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to watch Man of Steel, but I just didn't.
Ooh.
I turned on. I like Man of Steel.
Is that the second one?
No,
or
Man
the
of
first
Steel is
one?
the first one. It's like that's where
Okay.
Cavill was brought in.
Yes.
So Batman vs Superman though, wanted to watch it, and I hadn't watched the.
Oh wait, Batman versus Superman is technically the second one.
Yeah,
Right. That's
yeah.
technically the gotcha. Okay.
But I hadn't watched the Ultimate Cut. I think there's like 3 versions of it out there, but this one's like 3 hours long, and it's better.
So Snyder releases a Snyder cut, and people want the ultimate cut.
Well,
Great.
basically, because that's the Snyder Cut.
Nobody's ever happy with the cut.
The Ultimate Cut of Batman versus Superman is the Snyder Cut.
Oh.
The Snyder Cut of Justice League is coming out in 2021, which sucks. I got to wait a full year for it. But anyways, so Batman versus Superman being as reviled universally as it is, sit down and watch it with Beth. And we get all the way through the movie and she goes, yeah, that wasn't that bad.
This is probably like the 3rd time we've talked about that movie.
But never with Beth.
Minimum.
Beth has never seen it.
That's true.
And I told her at the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, so here are the things that people mostly complained about. They hated that Batman killed people, and she went, whatever, Batman. It's like she
now, is that I don't even like. I've seen the movie twice, and you'll have to tell me. Does he like expressly kill people, or is it just that he does stuff where people obviously die?
He expressly kills a few people. He kills people So the one part that I just can't, I can't even count it as if you're going to whinge about this. I just can't, is he flat out uses guns in the nightmare portion when.
But that's a dream sequence.
It's a dream sequence. It's also supposed to be, there's more backstory to it that you get later on that you don't get, but we will get, where that's actually the future come to pass with Darkseid, and that's what Justice League is kind of leading to, is stopping that from happening. But yeah, so that's a dream sequence.
I don't count.
And then
that,
there's one other sequence where it's the warehouse sequence towards the end where he flat out like blows somebody up and then shoots a bunch of people with the guns on the Batmobile. But again, I can never get behind yes, he wouldn't expressly kill people. Like, he doesn't walk up to them and shoot them in the face. Sure.
He just indiscriminately kills people.
Yeah. He's, and again, it's just one of those things that I just can't get behind I just don't, whatever. So she didn't care about that. And then I mentioned the Lex Luthor thing and that most people really don't like Jesse Eisenberg. And she was like,
oh, am I with most people on that? I actually didn't know.
Yeah, no. Are you kidding me? He was like top tier reviled. People freaking hate him. Hate him. She didn't care. She was fine. He's fine. Not her favorite. Definitely not the best Lex Luthor. She was and then the major one, the one that just everybody that rags on, that just, oh, why did you say that name? Why did you say Martha? Yeah, she went, I don't know. In the context of the scene, it actually works. I don't see what the problem is.
Fine.
And that's exactly,
Yeah,
I texted you when this happened. I was like so overjoyed that she was like, yeah, I don't really see the problem with that. That makes sense. It works.
I don't know why. I think the movie supports it.
Yeah.
I think it's simple, I guess, but that's not disqualifying. Like, the movie builds to it. It's supported. Like, it's fine.
It is, no and it's like, and I love the idea. Like, I think
it's human too.
It is, and I love it.
It's okay.
I love that because at the heart of both of those characters, they were both. I mean, I won't say he's a mom. Batman was a mama's boy, but he was definitely he loved his parents. He wanted to be with his parents. For him to not know, like there, and on top of that, like, you're gonna act like, number one, Batman clearly has been around for a while, so yeah, things happen in this weird world. There's an alien now calling his mother's name. Why wouldn't he kind of be weirded out by that for a moment?
Well, that's the thing with Batman too. Like, that's his motivation. Like, that's supposed to be forefront of his mind while he's beating up criminals and Superman and stuff.
Yeah, so it works. But she overall actually enjoyed the movie, and now we have started the follow-up movie in the sequence of films. Because she has also never seen Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's not a follow-up movie. That's not. Nothing comes before or after it. It is
itself. So it is. Yes, it is. But in the scheme of, and we're actually already out of order. We actually are gonna watch Wonder Woman after that, which comes first in the order of all the movies. But we're watching.
I guess the earlier you do Suicide Squad, the better.
The better,
at least.
Yeah. I still like, watching it, and I want to say we're about 40 minutes into it, and it's just, there's so much possibility there, and just so much failure, and because of the Snyder Cut thing coming out, David Ayer has been getting lots and lots of attention and questions, because apparently, like, so this is also a known factor that his movie he got all of it taken away from him, and it got recut.
It had a troubled production.
It was recut by a trailer house, not by a director, not by an editor,
into a trailer,
into a full. Yeah. Well, apparently he filmed, like, he's similar to the Justice League, where he was just, like, legitimately yesterday or the day before mentioning that, I like 95% of the movie, if not more, is done. It's effects stuff that has to be finished, and all of the stuff that you guys have complained about, it all gets explained. All of it. All the stuff with June Moon, all of the stuff with Enchantress, all of that stuff makes more sense.
Like a new cut?
In his cut. Yeah, in the cut. Like,
there's a David Ayer cut coming of Suicide
Squad. No, that's not coming, but he's saying that one exists just the same way that Snyder's cut did, but nobody has said, here, we're going to give you the time to go do it.
Well, yeah, start a really annoying, stupid campaign
They are.
about it.
It is.
There you go.
It's already begun.
Which... everything you've said, I'm cool. Like, I will watch the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
I just, that campaign was stupid. I hate it. No, the people who get all up in arms about it, just.
I think it's one of those. It's such a fascinating thing. How bizarre that how this all comes to pass. I am so curious what the end result was. Like, did people at Warner Brothers actually just get annoyed about hearing it? Is that what happened?
It got enough traction. Yeah, I mean, just about everybody knows. Like,
how does that, for a movie that is overall not well received, doesn't have a ton of fans, how the hell do enough people make enough noise that, like, and I fully believe it that fans made enough noise, but there's a wrinkle to the whole thing, and here's the wrinkle that some people may not have read about yet, that they don't know what the delivery method for this is going to be just yet. They're not sure if it's going to be a movie or if they're going to do it in an episodic fashion, which is something that when apparently Zack Snyder he screened a version of his version to a number of executives just recently prior to the live stream of Man of Steel, which is where he announced the cuts coming. And they all loved it. And one of the things he said was, look, I've got 4+ hours of material. This is the movie I wanted to make. You're doing HBO Max. That's where this is going. It's not going to be released in theaters. So why don't we do it as a 4-hour thing? And now I can do all of it. We can have the whole show. So I'm both thrilled and scared, and I'm hopeful. But whatever the end result is, anything like that where Zack Snyder has wanted to do this and finish this for 5 years, never gave up on it, always talked about it, released little things
Justice
here and
League
there.
5 years old? Well, I guess
that's when he's been
5 years
since he's been
started.
working
Gotcha,
on it.
okay.
Yeah. I want to see it. And if David Ayer has a cut that he wants to do that he thinks is going to be more along the lines of his films, I want to see that, because his movies are not bad movies.
Actually, yeah, I would be more interested in a David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad than Justice League. Maybe that's because I enjoyed Justice League just fine as is,
right? And
Suicide Squad is a blight on humanity. But I think a lot of Suicide, yeah, that's a different movie in just the editing. Like, honestly, it is cut horribly together.
It is. It's terrible. And watching the 40 minutes that we watched last night, I mean, there are glimpses of fun, like quality, something quality there, but it's so torn to shreds and then just beat up,
put back together to shreds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you had somebody put something through a shredder multiple times and then gave it to somebody with 2 glass eyes that are crossed and said, okay, make it exactly like it was before.
2 glass eyes that are crossed. It's accurate.
Yeah. Other than that, I've got a lot of other stuff that has been on my plate, but I'm not gonna.
Really?
Yeah. We've been watching lots and lots of stuff lately, man. Just tons of it.
Like movies or
sure,
still TV?
All of it, everything, dude. I've been going.
Are you just making stuff up at this point?
No, man. Joe Bob has been going crazy the past couple of weeks. Lots of great stuff there. Freaking the fact that he did 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, last week. 2 weeks ago. He did Deep Red, which is my favorite Argento film, and never expected him to do that. The other, this past week, he did The Exorcist 3, which I actually didn't watch because it's just not an. I like Joe Bob a lot. That movie, and I like that movie just fine. It was not a movie that I wanted to watch a Joe Bob version of, in particular, because it's just not. But then the second movie he did, I came back to Deadbeat by Dawn. Never seen it before, never even heard of it. Freaking great.
Me neither.
Yeah, so lots of stuff like that. There's been tons of little horror movies that have been popping up.
Almost like you got a ton of time on your hands.
It's been weird. And then
is Colorado reopening anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like.
Not for me. That's all I'm saying,
I don't love going out, and people are less and less masks and stuff, and social distancing around here is basically like I have numerous times at this point had to turn around and look at people and go, "Excuse me, space, please." You know.
Listen, I know this is new to everybody. I've been social distancing for years, and this is not correct.
Yeah, you're all failing. One person in the store at a time.
I'm going home.
I'm going home. Oh man, that cookies and cream Twix I ate last night was
okay. I think we're
fantastic.
Officially at the end of the show here.
Okay, is that it?
Could be. Did you find the actual Oreo candy bars yet?
I haven't gone anywhere. Well, that's not true. We did go to the feed store.
I knew it. You went to the feed store and you didn't get a primary feed.
I didn't get a feed. No, but you know what? You know what's crazy? This is nuts. I don't know if I told you this. Our so we got chickens, but they were molting and stuff, so they were like yes, they were like they had magma coming off of them.
Sure.
But they weren't.
No, when chickens are underground, it's called molting.
That's right. And when they're finished, they're called barbecue. When we first got them, they're rescue chickens. So they're full grown chickens that were actually rescued from.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
I did not know either. So they were rescued.
I thought they were just normal chickens and lunch.
That's basically it. Yeah. Well, it's chicks, chickens, lunch. That's the order of operations. But these chickens were like they were not taken care of very well. They were rescued from a bad farm. They had their beaks chopped off.
Jeez,
yeah,
come on.
It's really awful. So we got 3 of them. One of them died. almost immediately. She was not friendly with the other two, but the other two have been slowly but surely like getting healthier and healthier. And one of them about a week ago finally started laying eggs, and so we've been getting eggs every day from one of the chickens. The other chicken is now getting healthier and healthier, and we're getting 2 more chickens today.
They finally got healthy enough for you to steal their children.
Yeah, thankfully, actually, they're definitely not broody. She lays the egg and then she's like, "I'm out." We watch her in the morning. She lays the egg and then she immediately is like, "I gotta go. I'm not sitting on this thing. I don't care."
Okay.
I don't want
right.
children.
As long as she doesn't want the kids.
The weirdest thing. It is the weirdest thing though to be like to be. I walk outside, the chicken doors are all open. I can see the one chicken in the brood box, like she's up there and she's doing her thing. The other chicken is outside, like, "I'll give you some time." And then she
I don't like to be around for this.
And then she comes out and she's like, "I feel so much better. I just lost a pound." And you go and you grab the egg, and when you grab the egg right away, like it's warm.
Yeah.
It's not gooey, it's not covered in anything. It's totally like dry. It's just an egg, but it's warm and just like and the first time so you start off with these ceramic eggs you put in there to kind of get them to go, "Oh, I should put eggs here." And so the first egg we got, I went out and I pulled it out and I was like,
ceramic.
And I was like, "Hey Beth,
wait.
we got an egg." And she was like, "Are you screwing with me? Are you And she's like shaking it, and I'm like, "Does that work? Can you shake an egg and hear it?" I guess you can.
Sure.
I don't know what's happening. Hey, podcast at bookclubformovies.com.
You don't do it at the beginning of the show. You got to do it at the end of the
Yeah.
show. Podcast rules, everybody.
Yeah, podcast rules with a Z at the end.
If you want to get to us with more podcast rules, that is the email podcast at bookclubformovies.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter as always. Next week, we're doing Heather. Watch it. Tell us what you think about it. Or if you've already seen it, just tell us what you think about it. Also, tell us what you think about anything. You don't care.
It's a movie streaming on Shudder.
Where is it? Yeah, I saw you looking that up.
It is streaming on Shudder.
That's right.
And
we talked about that before.
I think it might be streaming on. It was on Amazon a long time ago. Let's see if it's on.
Interesting.
Is it on Hulu? It might be on Hulu too, and it's on Prime Video. It looks like.
Oh.
Yeah, Shudder and Prime and Hulu. You should be able to find it easily found. Heathers, Christian Slater, Winona Ryder,
The end.
Shannon Doherty.
Oh, the beginning.
90210. Goodbye.
Chairs are stacked all over tables, and it's closing time, they say. I would sit right here forever if they'd only let me stay. Any place would be much better than a lonely room of mine, and a sleepless night awaiting for another place, another time.